So this afternoon, my topic is, were you there? Now, I don't know if you, well, I think it's pretty obvious what I'm referring to by my topic. This is referred to as Easter Sunday, which is the most holy time in the Christian calendar. This time of year is also very holy for Jewish people who in the last week had their Passover. I was talking to a Jewish man recently who celebrated Passover. So this time of year for these two religions is extremely sacred and holy. And for that reason I'd like to see a little bit of respect for those of us who do regard these things as holy and sacred. The crucifixion and resurrection took place 2,000 years ago. But you'd never know it, looking at society, like, you know, and this is referred to as Easter. I'm not going to go into some of the pagan connotations of the word Easter and the pagan practices that are still associated with it, because I haven't got much time for them. But one of those is all the, you know, overconsumption of Easter eggs. You know, this year I saw these Easter eggs advertised. They're the size of bloody footballs. And, you know, the Thursday night before Easter, last year, because this year I was doing a lecture somewhere, but last year I had to do some shopping, and all I could see was this mad, obsessive scramble for people to, you know, snap up all the bloody Easter eggs they could find to stuff in their mouths. I mean, what an orgy of self-indulgence and self-absorption.
Yeah, but they're kids. They're kids having a bit of fun.
No, they're adults as well. This is what society has descended into. People who are self-absorbed and self-indulgent.
So we're just having a bit of fun, having some Easter eggs.
$187 million was spent in Australia on Easter eggs, not to mention other paraphernalia such as hot cross buns, etc. My friends, I'm here to tell you this afternoon, and I actually would have liked to go to a conference this weekend, but I came in at my own time and expense this afternoon because in my heart I really believe very strongly about what I'm saying today. And I believe it's time to get back to reality. Reality is not Easter bunnies and chocolate Easter eggs. There are more important things in life, and these things are spiritual things. And a lot of people are totally neglecting it. Did you know that sociologists are now saying that society has entered a time of spiritual vacuum and cultural confusion? That's what sociologists are saying. Spiritual vacuum and cultural confusion. And we see it in this time at Easter. Now the reality is that both the crucifixion and the resurrection are historical fact. They took place. If you don't want to believe it, that's your choice. They are historical fact. Just the same as Hitler existed. Now we don't like what Hitler did, but he did exist. Only Christians, however, believe that Jesus rose from the grave after 3 days and 3 nights. Muslims do not believe that Jesus was resurrected. The Quran teaches that Jesus was not crucified, that it was a fake death, and that Allah took him up to heaven. Muslims do not believe in the resurrection. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. Do you believe that? Do you believe it? That's what Jesus said. If you don't believe it, then you're saying that Jesus was a liar. I think that's a very dangerous thing to do. So I think we should have a look at what actually did take place after Jesus was put on the cross. He stayed on there for a certain amount of time. After he was dead, they took him down. They laid him in a grave. And after 3 days, he was no longer there. In the Gospel of John, chapter 20, we read of cast off grave clothes. You see, Jesus was buried in two separate pieces of cloth. One wrapped round his body and the other one was wrapped round his head. John in the Bible states that before Jesus' body was taken down from the cross, a Roman soldier thrust a spear into Jesus' heart to make sure that he was really dead. Then, as I said before, after Jesus had died, they put him in a tomb. The Bible tells us that very early on the Sunday morning, some people say that Jesus was already gone.
Yeah, we know the story. We know the story.
Mary, a follower of Jesus, went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been rolled away. Mary
Like a holiday,
ran and told Peter
2 nights and 1.5 days.
and John that Jesus' body was gone from the tomb. When Peter and John examined the tomb, they found the grave clothes, as I referred to before. They were lying there. Now, some people try and say, oh, but Jesus' body was stolen, you know. They stole the body away. Well, if you're going to go and steal a body, and generally when you go to steal something, you're in a bit of a hurry because you don't want to get caught. And by the way, there were Roman soldiers outside the tomb guarding it. So if you're going to steal something,
Maybe there was another entrance into the cave.
the clothes of the body, you're going to just steal it in toto. And that is why, my friends, the grave clothes were still there in Jesus' tomb. When Jesus was crucified, there were 2 men on either side, okay? There were 3 crosses. And the two on either side were thieves. This afternoon I'd like to ask you, which thief were you? Because both those thieves were not the same. Can anyone tell me why those 2 thieves on either side of Jesus were not the same? When I finished, you can have a chance. I haven't finished.
No, but like, are you actually allowed to speak?
Yes, if you're
Yeah.
here before, that's what
Yeah,
we
we're
said.
allowed to speak here.
You think there'd be some
Thank you
sort
for
of a
the
minimum
correct
IQ
answer to the
requirement?
question.
Really not.
But it's not all religious. Some is just political.
No, but like,
Some is atheist. They can talk about whatever you like, you know.
but yeah, if it doesn't make any sense, like, it's pretty funny though, I must say. But,
You're allowed to interject if you want and ask, challenge what she says.
oh no,
But what's it to you whether people speak here or not?
no, but like, you'd expect some sort of quality from
Excuse
speaking.
me, what's your experience in public speaking? Are you a great motivational speaker that gets paid $100,000 for every time you speak? You must be pretty good. You come here and say that, you know, this is not very good quality. Well, be honest.
I make sense when I speak, that's all.
He just said that I wasn't a reasonable speaker. I'm addressing the comment.
I'm not talking about necessarily your manner, it's just the content of your
Well,
speech.
that's your problem.
It's pretty hilarious.
If you don't agree with it, that's your problem. A lot of people do agree with it. It's very popular. There are millions of
unfortunate,
people
isn't
around the world who agree with me as a Christian. Millions of people. Excuse me, do you have a problem? Good.
She's staff. She works at the library.
I know, that's why I'm asking you. Keeping an eye on speakers. There. Okay, so I'd like to continue before I was rudely interrupted because there are some people interested in what I'm saying this afternoon. When Jesus was crucified on the cross, there were 2 other crosses on either side. They were both thieves, they were common criminals. And I just asked people, what was the difference between these 2 thieves?
He wanted to criticise, but he didn't want to articulate his actual criticism of the...
No, I think he was trying to work out whether it was legitimate to speak here or not.
Which is bullshit, you know. So why would you poke your nose into... And now he's trying to sort of...
So my friend Vid said to me that the difference between these 2 thieves on either side of Jesus was, it is very important actually, it's extremely important, because one of them was sorry for what he'd done, And he said to Jesus, as Jesus was dying on the cross, and I think we should have a bit of respect and a bit of solemnity about this because it's a very serious topic. I'd like to see any one of you strung up on a cross. Would you enjoy it? So, as Jesus was dying and his blood was flowing out from him, this thief said to him, remember me when you go to heaven. He repented of his sins. I'd like to ask you all this afternoon, have you repented of your sins? Or are you going to say that you have no sins? You know, Jesus said at one time, if you say you have no sins, then, you know, there's not much hope for you because we have all sinned. And what is sin? We have all committed and done things that are wrong.
And they're thinking, oh look, they're hoping to recruit new people to reject.
So, there are only two types of people.
It's a real unfortunate.
You're either saved or you are lost.
To get Rupert up to do his speech next.
And to those who are in rebellion against God, I would like to say,
They cut it back.
I don't care if your name has been on a church roll, a sausage roll, or a toilet roll. It really makes no difference. I don't care how much money you've got, how much education you've had, how fit you are, how many talents you've got, how many Facebook friends you have, how popular you are, how good looking you think you are. I don't care how much you think you know about anything, how advanced your iPad is. Because if you haven't got Jesus in your heart, you've got nothing and you're going nowhere. And those of us who have got Jesus in our hearts, we're not perfect, don't look at us. We try and follow what Jesus taught. Now I'm just going to read something about Jesus. And this is all historical fact. Who was Jesus? Who was he? Someone to laugh at and mock? I don't think so. Jesus never told a lie. He never killed anybody. Jesus was born in an obscure village, the child of a peasant woman. He grew up in another village where he worked in a carpenter's shop until he was 30. Then for 3 years he was an itinerant preacher. He never wrote a book. He never held office. He never went to college. He never had a family or owned a house. He never travelled 200 miles away from his home where he was born. And he never did any of the things that people today regard as great, such as making lots of money, getting a PhD. I know lots of people with PhDs, and they're so far up themselves that it doesn't matter. Jesus had no credentials. Yes? Oh yes, absolutely. We need someone, that's right. Jesus had no credentials but himself. Jesus was only 33 when the tide of public opinion turned against him. His friends ran away. He was betrayed by a close friend and handed over to his enemies. He was nailed to a cross between two thieves, as I said before. While he was dying, his executioners gambled for his clothing, the only property he owned. He didn't care about money. When he died, he was laid in a borrowed tomb through the pity of a friend. 2,000 years have come and gone.
Melbourne, the living city.
Today, Jesus Christ is the central figure of the human race. He is the leader of mankind's progress. All the armies that ever marched, or the navies that ever sailed, or the parliaments that ever sat, or the kings that have ever reigned, put together, have not affected the life of man on earth as much as this one man, Jesus Christ.
What about Mousy Tung? He affected a lot of people, maybe more.
He also killed a lot.
Yeah, but I'm saying he affected more.
Jesus never killed one person, and neither
affected
did he
more.
tell his followers.
But he affected more people.
He murdered people.
Yeah, he affected them. He affected them, no?
To Jesus Christ.
He imposed a political system. He imposed a political system which affected millions. He had bigger reach, I believe. That's what I'm saying.
A mass murderer.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
But he
Thank
still
you.
had bigger
That's all
reach.
we need to know.
I wasn't
That's
saying
all
one
we
was
need to
better.
know.
I was
And
saying
in
he had
total
more
contrast-
impact.
In total
You were talking
contrast
about impact.
to
You said he had the most
in
impact,
total contrast,
and I don't think so.
Jesus died for the world. Mao Zedong killed millions of people.
But
I'm
he,
just going to finish this afternoon by reading a statement of what my faith means to me. I am a follower of Jesus Christ. The die has been cast. I have stepped over the line. The decision has been made. I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. I won't look back, let up, slow down or back away. My past is redeemed. My present makes sense.
what happened in your past? Can you tell us what you did wrong in your past?
I'm done with low living, small planning, colourless dreams, tainted vision, mundane talking, cheap giving and small gods.
What's going on?
I no longer need preeminence, prosperity, position, promotion or popularity. I don't have to be praised, regarded, rewarded or recognised. I don't have to be first. I live by faith, lean on His presence, walk by patience, live by prayer and labour by power. My face is set, my walk is fast, my goal is heaven. My road is narrow, my way is rough, my companions few.
And your speech is
My
bloody long.
God reliable, my vision clear. I am a follower of Jesus Christ. I cannot be bought, compromised, detoured or lured away, turned back, deluded or delayed. I will not flinch in the face of sacrifice, hesitate in the presence of the adversary, negotiate at the table of the enemy, ponder at the pool of popularity, or meander in the maze of mediocrity. I will not give up, let up, or shut up until I've stayed up, stored up, prayed up, paid up, and preached up for the cause of Jesus Christ, my friends. I am a disciple of Jesus Christ. I must go till He comes, give till I drop, preach till all know, and work till He stops me. And when Jesus comes back again, which won't be long now, I hope and pray that Jesus Christ will receive me. Thank you for listening this afternoon.
If you don't like